Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Big Brain Podcast. Back for another road to UFC. I do have my boy Piers back with me again. Just waiting for him to set up. Didn't want to be running too late. Yeah, we did well enough last time. First time taping these fighters. It's a bit hard for me to pull the trigger. You don't know who's a can. You don't know who's a can crusher. Not much regional tape. Yeah. But yeah, I think this time around it should be a bit easier, less squash matches. And yeah, we've got a bit more tape, against good level of opposition. We've seen some of these guys multiple times. So yeah, excited to get into it. Got a comment here, the great gringo. Need Jonathan Reynolds on here. I don't know who Jonathan Reynolds is. Oh, there he is. Howie time. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Maybe my young assistant can help me out. How are you, Peace?
Good. How's the new mic sounding?
Yeah, it's not making you sound any better, but it's the sound is clear, if that's what you're asking me.
Yeah, that's good. All right. Yeah, my Wi-Fi might lag out, so if I stop talking, I'll just be back on in a second. But I'm ready to go.
That's all right. I'll carry the show, man. I'll carry the show. Alrighty. I mean, we might as well get straight into it, right? If we don't have anything to say, we'll just move on. We're training right after this, so I wouldn't mind some time to get ready. Cool. So Peter Danasi versus Dembrel. I butchered that for sure. Really good fight here. I think whoever wins this fight should be signed into the UFC, especially for flyweight. They need Thai guys and they need Mongolian dudes. At the current line, I can't really get a read personally. I slightly lean to Dembrel. I think the Mongolian. I think he's fought a similar matchup in Top Night before. Another explosive Muay Thai guy with power. He was fighting very aggressive and he ate all his shots. And he was mixing in the takedowns, which Peter has issues with takedown defense, although his get-ups are pretty good. So I'll lean the Mongolian. He's got the power, he's got the jiu-jitsu. He went 3 rounds against a good opponent in his last one. Peter fought a good opponent too. I regret passing on him as a dog. I thought, man, this guy's got some potential. It's just he fought another good guy with the ground game, so I passed. But if he doesn't spark the Mongolian, who knows? I mean, it's pick 'em now, so struggling to get a read myself. What about you, mate?
Yeah, so I guess the theme of this card is going to be I got a lot of lines that don't exist anymore, but I did play Tumen Dembrel when he was plus 160 yesterday. And it's kind of the same sentiment as you. I don't really have like a strong lean on this matchup. I think the pick'em's probably more accurate than not. I mean, you got Peter Danasi. He trains at Bangtao Muay Thai, which is the same gym that Top Noi trains at. So he's going to have George Hickman in his corner. So maybe they'll have a good game plan for Tumen Dembrel. But it's a tough fight to get a read on because you watch a lot of Peter's fights. He does get taken down a lot. I mean, that's been a hole in his game for a while now, but his ability to get up seemed a little bit better in his last fight against Sim Kai. And I guess with Tumen Dembrel, he could hit takedowns here, but he's kind of a wild card himself. He's very wild. Does seem like he has the death touch. We saw him knock out a dude in like 5 seconds, but it's a volatile fight where I just feel like Tumen Dembrel is a better, well-rounded mixed martial artist. So I guess he has more paths to victory, whereas Peter probably wants to keep it on the feet. I mean, he's probably more technical on the feet, but definitely the Mongolian has the power advantage. So I'll side with the Mongolian as well.
Yeah, that's a good line. It is what it is. I just couldn't really lock it in. Like I said, I'm still figuring out the whole smash the lines early. And he told me it was $250. So I'm just watching this Ali Akbar guy. He actually hurt Peter multiple times on the feet before he got submitted. And I thought it was going to be some good prospect. And he's 3-0. He's 0-3. So this guy was wobbling Peter all around the place. So yeah, I'll lean the Mongol. I'll lean the Mongol. All right, let's move on. Rates Terraria versus Mark Climaco. This is a great fight, man. Another great fight. I know, I don't want to spoil it for everyone. I know you got another early line on Ray here. And I mean, he's still the dog, so I taped this one first. And I'll be honest, on the second retape, I'm kind of I'm seeing what people are seeing with Ray. He just seems to be fighting at like 50%. I get the feel like he's not really exerting much because he doesn't need to, and he's just running through these guys, and he's got good entries, and he's 21 years of age, and yes, a lot of his competition's been below average. But yeah, I just get the feeling that he's not really exerting, and he's got a lot more potential. And he's obviously taken a massive step up in Mark Climaco, and you have to make a lot of guesses with him, with Ray, just because he hasn't been pushed. I've seen him taken down, I've seen him reversed, and then get up and whatnot. So I guess he can do it. But it's hard for me to play the dog, even though I think he might be special. When I have so much tape of Mark, just shutting people down. When he fought Davis from LFA, Davis is extremely good at taking people down, taking their back, and either submitting him or grinding him out. And yeah, Mark just shut him down and just outgraded him, showed to be the better wrestler over 3. And Ray doesn't seem to have any striking whatsoever. He's just looping overhands into a shot. And I could see it being competitive. I could see maybe him making Mark fight that fight for 3 rounds, and because he seems special on the ground, it could be maybe even submits Mark. Who knows? Who knows how good this kid really is? But yeah, ultimately I'm passing. If you got the early line like yourself, then yeah, I'll probably steer into the volatility and see how good Ray really is. But yeah, this line I'm kind of also tempted by Mark as well.
Yeah, so this is actually, I'll say this before we get too in depth. So if you guys don't mind, because we got props last time, my guy that's kind of in the inside with Bet Online, they said they're not planning on doing props, but if we get Dave Mason's attention on Twitter, just ask him for props. We'll keep bugging him, and hopefully he gives us props for this card at Dave Mason BOL. So let's do that. And for this fight, yeah, I'm with you, man. This is an amazing fight. It's really tough to get a read on, but you said I bet Ray at, I think the line was like plus 180, something like that. It's like plus 130 right now. So it doesn't seem as tempting right now just because Mark Climaco, for those of y'all that watch LFA, this dude's probably was one of the better flyweights not signed to the UFC for the past couple of years. I don't know why he has to go through the road to the UFC when you got like the Shannon Rosses and Jesus Aguilars that are in the UFC. And the weird part is that they're making these guys the semifinals too, which makes no sense. But Ray, the thing with him is I don't want to bet money against him just because he has like this aura about him. He feels like he's special. I mean, he is 21 years old, but when you watch him fight, you get like Tatsuo Taira vibes, and his jiu-jitsu just seems like it's on a different level. But Mark's more well-rounded. He's fought the better guys. We've seen him mix the martial arts better. As Ray, he is a one-trick pony, I guess you could say that, but his one trick is really good. And I guess with Mark, it's like, do you think Mark's gonna go for takedowns here? Because he tends to do that in a lot of his fights. And if he's trying to mix up the takedowns on Ray, it could get interesting because that's his game.
I don't think he has to. I think, but like you said, he does wrestle everyone. He actually didn't wrestle as much against the other kid that was primarily a striker, but it was enough for him to get a 30-27. I thought that was a surprising 30-27. I thought that kid was kind of landing some flush shots on the feet. Like
was
the
best shots
of the fight. The best shots of the fight.
Was it just me, or was did Mark? That's one of his worst performances. I feel like I don't know if him fighting in Asia, it's a little bit different for him, but he didn't look like the same Mark that I'm used to seeing like against Cody Davis.
I think that kid's just really good. People
yeah,
just underestimate because the line was a bit steamed. People thought the kid's not as good, but there's a lot of untapped potential in Asia. So that kid's just an animal. He's going to be a lot better than some of the raw talent in LFA, for example.
Well, I guess also I'll say one thing. If we do get Dave Mason to give us props, maybe like if they set an over 1.5, because I know Ray likes to finish a lot of his fights. I feel like Mark's a good fighter to the point where it's like it's going to go over 1.5 at a high clip.
Oh, yeah. It's going over 100%, but it's probably going to be juiced. Who knows? Let's not give, because I know Dave is my number one fan. Let's not give him too many ideas if he does put props out. But yeah, good fight, man. Let's move on. So Zai versus Sungwon Kim. I think we all cashed Kim last time against Sasu, one of the best players on the card. Unfortunately, the card was on a Sunday night for me, and I just really felt like going ham, and I played every single fight, so I just ate into my profits. But that was one of my favorite moneyline bets, and I had to screenshot the bet online. He's even a bigger favorite against Zai, and I get it. You look at Zai's record and yeah, 23-4, and he was quite close to fighting in the UFC, and he's probably fought the highest level of competition. But when you look, he's been sparked before. He's won split decisions. He's lost split decisions. He's been submitted. Kim is a very well-rounded guy. His issue is he can be a little bit too patient and low volume. I remember I was pulling my hair out against Sasu, and I wasn't really betting on him expecting a KO because I don't think Sasu has been KO'd before from tape. I just thought because he has good get-ups and he's good everywhere, on the ground, on the feet, the fight was going to look way too wide, the line. He ended up sparking him, which is good. But same thing here. Zha will probably get takedowns. But yeah, he did hit a big shot against Matsumima, and he just didn't react whatsoever. But he was also knocked out by Miyamamamati, whatever the hell his name is, who's the guy that lost the decision to Kazuma, 30-27. Right, so he has been sparked. So this line is crazy. We know what he's going to do. He's going to try grind. He's going to try to do back takes. He's probably going to lose position multiple times, which he does. And he's got an active guy. He's going to look for arm bars and triangles. But yeah, Kim is probably going to do his thing and be a little bit too patient and spend too much time defending. But he's always live for a KO. This looks like another split decision to me. So I'm surprised by this line, man. I'm definitely going to take a little poke on Kim. What about you?
Yeah, man. So I'm one of the bigger Zha Yi fans. I've been betting on him almost every single one of his fights, and I kind of agree with you here, which pains me to say this, but seeing Zha Yi as the biggest favorite on the whole card, I mean, I get it in theory because they're probably assuming that he's going to hit takedowns, which we have seen. I mean, Won Kim got taken down by Sasu. I think he got judo tossed as well. And do you find it funny how Laura Senko seems to have like a crush on Sasu? That shit was funny watching the tape back.
I think she's just like she loves ground games and shit, so she was just creaming over him. Well, that guy's so overrated, man. That he was a massive favorite against Zha as well, and he got submitted in round 1, and then massive favorite against Kim, and he gets sparked. Like he's not coming back.
Maybe we hit up Sasu to see who he thinks is gonna win this fight. But with Songwon Kim, I mean, his loss recently was to Shin Harguchi, who's also in the road to UFC, and that dude's a monster. So I don't hold anything against that losing to Shin. But yeah, you mentioned it. He gets up. That's the thing with Zha. I mean, we know Zha is gonna hit takedowns, but if he's not getting the body triangle on the back, I feel like Won Kim's gonna work up. And it just comes down to if Zha Yi's cardio can hold up to shoot a shit ton of takedowns. I mean, we saw in his fight against Lee for the finals last year. It was a good fight. It was close, though. He always fights close if he's not getting a quick submission. So if the fight drags out, I don't know if that minus 550 or whatever he is, minus 600 Zha Yi, I don't know how much value that really holds. Because I think we talked about it his last fight when people were talking about playing his chalk against Jaifu. We mentioned how Zha Yi's he's not really someone to cover big favorite price tags. And I just feel like here the value is on Won Kim. Whether or not I play him, I'm not sure what to do here. But maybe parlays keep rolling in with Zha Yi and we get a good number by fight time.
Yeah, it's a no-brainer, man. I mean, like you said, it's either early sub over a bum, or Sasu. Let's just say Sasu's not a bum, or it's a split decision, all right? Because he loses a lot of positions. He gets taken down himself. But yeah, I mean, Kim has a finishing upside. He has lost to a lot of grapplers, which is probably why, like you said, Shin. That was unfortunate, man. Like the first round was 10 minutes. So it's like he got up so many times, but it's like if it was 5 minutes, he probably would have survived and then got time to rest. But he had to essentially deal with the onslaught of Shin for 10 minutes straight. That was brutal. No wonder he got broken. But yeah,
I guess you just have to make Zha Yi such a big favorite because he has all the grappling upside, but it's not like he's at a wash on the feet. I feel like on the feet it's competitive, if anything.
Nah, Kim will get up, man. He's lost to these guys before, like even Murad Gassianev, like this Russian dude. But that made me play him against Sasu because I saw so many get ups and he was kind of competitive, So it's like, yeah, the fact that he's plus 400, man, that at least warrants,
Is that what he is right now? Plus 400.
Yeah, man. How can you not, like, worse than Sasu? Just he's got the finishing upside. Like if it's around 1 KO, you got value for days. If it's a decision, you got. I mean, he hasn't been submitted much, right? He submitted Jenkins. Literally no submission losses on his record, and he's fought a bunch of really high level submission guys. So
no, I mean his grappling off his back, he hits some nice reversals, and it's like he's very aware of what's happening on the mat. It's not going to be like Zha Yi's going to smoke him. So yeah, no. Plus 400 is pretty crazy now that we talk it out.
Yeah, I'll take a poke. Alrighty. Sanguk Choi versus Junishuye, Lu King Kong. What do you reckon, mate?
Yeah, so I also have 1 unit bet on this fight. I played Guk Choi when he was plus 125 last night, and it's not really a passionate take. It's just one where I think Guk Choi, he's just more well-rounded than Jonas Shui. I will say with Jonas Shui, it doesn't say an age. I think he's like 22, 23, so he's still really young. So I mean, I like his game. He seems like he flows pretty well on the feet. He's got a good jab. He's got good boxing, and I guess if he wants to win here, he's probably got to mix in takedowns because I feel like Guk Choi is more well-rounded, and if Junashui's not getting top time, it's probably going to be Guk Choi, the one that's getting on top. It's a close fight though. I just feel like you have to make Guk Choi the favorite just because he's fought a lot better fighters. I mean, Junashui's kind of a can crusher. I'm not gonna lie, and I mean, I think it was Billy who he fought out of the Indonesians. That was his toughest fight, and we really didn't get to see much because it ended really quick, but. I guess you could maybe say Junashui's young. He's making improvements, but I'll take the guy that's shown me more against better opponents.
Yeah, yeah. But the dog money seems decent. You know, Junishuye, he's got nice boxing and the southpaw, and he wants to take down. But his main issue is his physicality. His physicality, and a lot of these cans that he's beaten, I found a little bit more tape than last time. He's struggling to get takedowns. You know, he'll once he gets it, he's got really good ground and pound, and he's got good control. But it's like he's getting stuffed because he's so not physical. And we've seen Choi, you know, have really good takedown defense, or I wouldn't say really good, but really good get-ups. You know, he was stuffing a lot from Park. In the end, took Park till round 3 to rear naked choked him. And say what you will about Kumar, that Kumar is so physical, man. That guy's a savage. If only he can round out his skill set a bit.
Yeah, and he's got 5-star desire according to Lorosenko too.
Yeah, that's right, man. That's right. But yeah, I just wish he did a little bit more. So it's like now at Pick'em, it's like, you know, even if there's no takedowns involved from King Kong, you know, Choi doesn't do much, and Yunashida's boxing is technical enough that I can see it being competitive. That's my issue. But yeah, at the little slight plus money, you know, I think Choi could look slight favorite, and then you're getting, you know, like 40 cents value, which is pretty good. But yeah, good bet, man. I just feel like it feels like a pick and fight at the moment. Maybe Choi's slight favorite. Who knows? Like you said, he is more tested. I think he also has underrated power. It's just we don't see it because he just doesn't really put everything into his punches.
Yeah, I guess that just at the end of the day, you got to make Guk Choi the favorite just because he does more.
He does, yeah. And higher.
But I will say, it's hard to really see Guk Choi looking like a massive favorite in hindsight. It's like probably thin margins, but yeah, it's probably one of the more past fights on the card.
Yeah, shame we don't get live bet on this, but it is what it is. Alrighty, so the main event. Now, I don't think Kanda is bad, honestly. I think he's a lot better than his line indicates. And, you know, his last few losses, I mean, it's to the rising champ. The guy's like 18-3 now. And, you know, I tried to fade him against the other dude, the old Chinese guy, just because he has power. And Kanda's been knocked out a bit. And he was eating a lot of shots, and his chin held up, and he was mixing in takedowns to win a split, which I think I was a little bit robbed there. But yeah, I think ultimately, I think Kaiwan Lee probably knocks him out again, which is annoying because, you know, whenever Kaiwan Lee gets extended, he kind of doesn't cover this line. But he does carry power late. So I think ultimately Lee is like UFC's dream signing here. He's covered in tattoos and, you know, the bad boy, and he's China as well. China always needs more representation, and he's just knocking people out. So how can you not want that in the UFC? Yeah, I think it's definitely wide, but Kaiwan Lee just has KO upside because Kanda is so hittable. If he comes in as sloppy as the last fight, he's asking for it. He's asking to get sparked. So yeah, nothing I'm passionate about here.
Yeah, I'm kind of agreeing with you. I thought we would maybe get a more playable line on Lee Kai-Wen, but it's minus 280 right now. And I can't say I disagree with it. Well, Kanda's maybe not awful. It's just like you said it yourself. I see that he's very lazy with the striking defense. And with someone like Lee Kai-Wen, who's going to blitz you like crazy, if you're lazy with the striking defense, you're going to get knocked the fuck out. And I mean, I guess Kanda could, in theory, hit takedowns here, but it's like I don't trust his wrestling enough to be taking Lee Kai-Wen down. I mean, he's the former one champion. His recent loss was to Fabricio Andrade, which is not a big deal at all. That dude's a stud, and it's like UFC probably wants Lee Kai-Win to win. So, I mean, it's not really much to talk about here, but if he does win, it's probably going to be KO first round.
Yeah, that's the square take, but probably happens. Alrighty. Made some good time, moved on to the second card. Let's address the comments. Now, there's a lot of these guys that I don't recognize. I think you brought in some of your incels again. What do we got? Some people think the Mongolian was a robbery. No, I think he beat Top Noi fair and square. What do we got? Zai is UFC level from Jonathan Reyes. Yeah, I could see it. I mean, he's experienced enough to be UFC level. Mr. X, I know this guy. Let's cash this weekend so BigSteve will be able to buy a new light bulb. What's wrong with my lighting now, mate? It's beautiful. Look at this. Oh, shit. That's right. I just don't think seeing my face in full light is the most important thing about the podcast. But anyway. Alrighty. What do we got? Wait for my Jano winnings. Oh, no, I'm on the same side as this guy. And Shui will make me money. All right. No good comments, unfortunately. Let's move on to the first fight. Very high-level fight, man. Joe Hume Park versus Quinlan Salkild. I think the most interesting thing about this fight is this Aussie guy's name. Quinlan Salkild. He's named like a Muay Thai, like a Thai fighter. You know how they're named after their gym? But yeah, he's a young dude. Both these guys are young. This Quinlan guy, the first few fights I was watching, he was getting grappled and kind of reversing, had good get-ups, etc., etc. And then the last few, he's just sparking fools. Not the best level of competition. Like the best guy he beat is this Blake Donnelly, 7-1, and Blake did beat a lot of guys on the Australian regional scene. When I had Eternal MMA on Neds, I was taping him a bit, but I think he might be a little bit chinny. He was sparked by Dimp Gillies as well, who's this regional bum. But yeah, super dynamic, explosive striker, this kid. Just aggression through the roof. I feel like from fight to fight, there's so much improvement, and we haven't even seen it because he's ran through these people. But yeah, seems a little bit green still, but who knows how much is improving. And then this Park guy is quite good. He's the last dude to beat the other Park, who is Kim. Pardon me, man. Kim's and Parks on this card. It's just so confusing. He beat Kim, who's fighting Zhu Rong, just a grappler guy. And it was a split decision, but they went back and forth, and Park took him down. He got out of bad positions. They had competitive striking. So I think he's fought, the highest level guy out of both of these dudes and beat him. Park is just like a really stocky, patient kid. Has a really good counter right. He's got power in it, and he wants to grapple and not the best control. But yeah, I think the line is a bit crazy. I think it's a bit crazy. I think this could be competitive, especially if Quinlan doesn't spark him. But it's like, what if he does spark him? You look like an idiot. You just don't know how good this kid is. And I don't know how good Park's chin is. Like you said, it reminds me a bit of Nolan. Like you want to fade Nolan because he's so green and he's making, mistakes. But he's just kind of like, he's got that cheat code where he's just so dynamic and he's just sparking fools. Bogdan Grad is like the best guy Nolan ever fought. And he just ran through him with one punch. So that's the thing. But yeah, I mean, the line is worse than minus 200, man. Like I'm considering a little bit on Park. I'm considering, but it's a hard fight to have a strong conviction. What about you?
Yeah, I understand why you maybe want to play Park at like the plus 185 odds or whatever it is now. But I played Quinlan when he was minus 115, and then I kind of chased a little bit more at minus 175. I kind of regret doing the minus 175 because that's probably seems like the more accurate price after running the tape again. I mean, Quinlan, the thing with him is he's also 23 years old. It doesn't say it on Tapology, so he's young, and you can see he's getting better every fight. I just feel like in this matchup, Quinlan comes off as the guy that has the better fight IQ, in my opinion. I feel like he's got more of a process to his game, whereas Park, he kind of just switches up the game plan every fight. I mean, yeah, he'll mix in takedowns, but then I see some fights where he's just looking to test out his striking, and it's like he doesn't come off as the smartest fighter. He's opportunistic, I guess, when it comes to finding the takedowns, but Quinlan does get taken down in the past, but it's not like he gets, I wouldn't say he gets stuck on his back. He tries to work up. He has like a sense of how to defend submissions and stuff. So you got the guy that's probably the better fighter when it comes to IQ. So I think he has to be the favorite here. And like you said, he's dynamic as fuck. Good knockout. he could knock out Park very quickly. So I don't know. I just feel like on the feet, it's Quinlan's the lot better fighter when it comes to the striking because Park's very fucking hittable. He has power in his right hand. I'll give you that, but it seems like Quinlan. It's a setup fight for Quinlan to get a knockout.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about setup. I feel like there's a lot of worse guys out there to be set up. Not Park, who's actually beaten one of the semi-finalists, on road to UFC.
Yeah,
I think it's. Yeah, go on.
No, I wouldn't say he should be this big of a favorite. It's just like Quinlan. He seems like he's a lot more technical than Park. That's probably the best way to put it. I wouldn't say it's a setup, but I hope they sign whoever wins this fight. It might maybe not straight to the UFC, but both these guys are good.
I think that's what they're doing. That's why it's such a high-level matchup, because an impressive win will get you in the UFC. But yeah, good fight, man.
Yeah,
Let's
maybe
move on.
if we get round props under for sure. I feel like someone's gonna die in this fight.
Yeah. I mean, I would say Quinlan's the highest level finisher. So if you like the under, might as well just rock with your money line. Alrighty. Now this one right here, Longsell versus Shui Kamikubo. So we both tried fading Kamikubo, right? And he kind of robbed us. He's he's like a Diaz guy with grappling, just constant forward pressure and just eating a lot of punishment. He was rocked in round one, and he was just eating a lot of bombs from that wrestler. And I think almost getting a Kimura in round one is what stole him the split decision after the same round that he got dropped. And now he's fighting Longsell, who's, I bet him by decision in the last one when I was just playing every single fight for fun. And he's a whole lot of nothing, really. Honestly, he's a whole lot of nothing. He's just a very experienced guy that has good cardio and he's got good submission defense. He fought Noze, who was like a black belt judoka and a brown belt in jiu-jitsu, and he just kept trying for knee bars and back takes, and he survived. I just out hustled him, So it's a big line on Zhao again. This Kamikubo has a lot of hype on him, even though he's only got one game plan and that's it. So it's like, can he push Zhao against the cage for 3 rounds and cover this line? I'm really tempted on Zhao, man. I'm tempted. We just seen him win a fight with a similar matchup in his last. He did take a bit of damage from Noze. He got busted up, which is why it was a split. But he did shut him down for most of the time. Yeah, man. He's plus 240, Zhao. Yeah, I have to look into it. I mean, I did think his submission defense was good originally. That's why I played him last time. What do you reckon?
Yeah, so I got a bet on Kamikubo when he was minus 210. Did that for 2.1 units. I mean, I just feel like it's a very simple, straightforward matchup. Kamikubo, relentless. The pace he set on Bear Gang was fucking insane. And I mean, he does it in a lot of his fights. He's got great cardio. I guess a lot of that might be he's a little bit of a smaller for the division. But, I mean, when you look at this matchup, Longsell, yeah, he looked better against Noze, but I don't even think Noze is that good of an opponent. But when it comes to Kamikubo, if he takes the back, which I think if he does hit takedowns here, Longsell does turn his back to get up. I feel like Kamikubo is going to put in that body triangle. Whether or not he can get the submission, I'm not sure. But I can't help but think Kamikubo is going to shoot like 30 takedowns. He's someone told me he's the Japanese Marab. He doesn't fuck off and he just constantly shoots takedowns. And it's like that's for Longsell to get going. He's going to have to defend the takedowns, and I can't trust him to be defending this many takedowns. But I guess to your point, we really haven't seen outside of the Noze fight Longsell's grappling tested. It's weird. There's only 3 fights on the Patreon for a guy that has 32 pro fights.
Yeah, because they're Chinese fights. He has a fight that's available on YouTube against in Australia. I can't remember his name now.
Was it Waze or Waze or something like that?
Let me find it. It was so long ago. He was a young kid, but it was just back. It was back and
Chris
forth.
Waze, whatever his name is.
It was back and forth, and but I mean, he's 25, man, so you can expect a lot of improvement from him. He's already fought in UFC, against Quinones. Quinones didn't cover his line there either, so yeah, like I said, he's just a whole lot of nothing, but he's super experienced, and we've seen him in a similar matchup against Noze. But look, I do have to do more than one fight tape on Kamikubo, so I'll only take his road to the UFC.
His grappling and his fights in one are very. I feel like he's fighting a lot better opposition, but also we did mention for the last podcast. So when the UFC PI did like a combine couple months back, they had Longsell at the bottom of the list out of like 30 people, which is kind of funny that he's made it this far. But figured I add that as well. But minus 300 for Kamikubo right now. I wouldn't advise everyone to put their mortgage on that. Line's a bit wide, but I think he's going to get it done.
Yeah. I have to look some more into Kamikubo because I'm definitely not playing the favorite. Alrighty, good fight right here. Zhu Rong versus Sung Uk Kim. So Kim is the guy that we mentioned lost to whatever his name is, Park, on the first fight. That's fighting Quinlan. That was a close back and forth split decision. He wants to grapple. He's a little bit what's the word? I think people are still trying to fade Zhu, just because we've seen him flake a little bit in the UFC. But he's so young, man. He's actually has good wrestling of his own and good takedown defense. And after the UFC, he's fought Maya, who's a black belt, and just stuffed a lot of takedowns and eventually knocked him out. And he's fought another one-dimensional grappler in his last fight, and again, stuffed his takedowns until it was eventually time to knock him out in the first. So he's got a lot of power. And yeah, Kim is just a bit too loose for me, man. Like he's dropping down for guard. He's mostly a decision machine, and he's fighting really like bad guys, 0-0, 2-2, and he's going to decision with them. When he gets to the back, he loses it occasionally, and it's like that's just every time he does that, he's going to give Rong the chance to get up and light him up on the feet. So I would want someone a bit better if I want to fade Zhu. I think Zhu is quite good. I think Zhu's going to make it back into the UFC the second time. I don't, I'm not against a poke on Kim, just because he's so high volume on the feet. Like he throws a lot of kicks and a lot of volume, and then just looks to shoot. So you can kind of mix it up and maybe keep Zhu on his toes and take some minutes off him, because Zhu can be a little bit low volume if he's not getting the calf kick off. But yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'm not rushing to fade Zhu just yet with Kim.
I mean, we can't forget that Zhu Rong was in the UFC when he was like a baby. He was like 21 years old in the UFC. He's only 23 right now. And I don't know, just this level just seems like Zhu Rong just runs through these guys in the road to the UFC. Not like that he's that special of a talent. It's just like, I mean, Kim, I thought I was going to want to bet him pre-tape, but it's like watching the tape, it's like he's fighting on the Vietnamese regional scene. And it's like, I mean, I wouldn't even say he's dominating all these guys. Sometimes he's struggling to get takedowns. And I guess Zhu Rong does maybe have volume. He has issues with his volume at times, but it's like, I don't think Kim's going to be the person to do that. He's looking to maybe like wet blanket Zhu Rong. But I mean, I think he's like minus 400 now. It was like plus 300 for Kim. So I get why people want to fade Zhu Rong in such a big number, but I don't know, man. I just feel like Rong's going to knock him out. Kim's, I don't think he's the right guy to fade Zhu with. I think we got to wait one more fight.
Cool. So we agree. Who would
he would
fight Harguchi. Yeah, it would all be interesting. Do you reckon Harguchi will be a massive favorite?
Jeez, I honestly, yeah, he might be at that point. You might just want to fade him.
Well, that's a good fight. Good fight to look into, man. Can't wait. If they both win, of course. Alrighty. Misu Zwamupasi versus Chung Lee. So we both took advantage of Lee's squash match against the worst guy from India against the two cards. So unfortunately, there's not as many squash matches. I mean, Misu is lined again like this is a squash match, which I get. One loss from Chung Lee was against Sang Kai, who kind of incorporated grappling, and he had his back and he was in Brave. That's a high-level fight, and they went back and forth. And he lost the split. So I guess that Misu kind of looks like a savage grappler, a lot better wrestling than Sam Kai. So I get it why he's a favorite, but I don't know if I want to play this line. It's just like these aren't squash matches anymore. These are like the best guys in Asia, and they're against each other. And Lee did have good get-ups in that Sam Kai fight, and he did survive all the back takes. And Sam Kai has good rear naked chokes, so I don't know. I know he's your boy. Deremisi is just, I have to brush up on some deep tape if I want to play, the dog here. Deep tape, and UFC is in like 8 hours for me, and I have to finalize some bets for UFC, whereas this is in like more than 24 hours. So I'll look into it some more. I don't think I'll be parlaying Deremisi. He's fighting a decent fighter here, so it's a pass for me at the moment. What about you?
Yeah, so I played Dembrel at the opening odds, not the minus 300. I played him at like minus 177 and minus 191, so I'm fine with that position. I guess just this fight for me. Because hasn't Ho Lee, if you don't mind checking, hasn't he fought at flyweight before?
Uh, Let me check right now.
I mean, it says right on the screen 127 on Tapology, but he would have been a big flyweight because he's 5'8".
He's jacked, man. He doesn't look small at all. Yeah, his same Kai loss was a flyweight, but he right after that he went back. Every other fight was a bantamweight before
Yeah,
and
yeah, he
after.
probably
Not
missed weight
not
for that
flyweight.
one.
I think maybe I don't know. Maybe he does. I mean, he could have easily fought a flyweight in Road to FC because they do have a flyweight division. I think maybe he performs better at bantamweight because he looks jacked, man. He looks absolutely jacked.
Yeah, I mean, I guess in just this matchup, Terraria, it seems like watching the tape, he's going to be a lot more physical than Holy. It was kind of funny, Sabu Fossi's last fight. He literally just rushed into the clinch with a Ginting. He got taken down, hit the reversal. But maybe be a little bit more careful for this one. But I guess you said Sim Kai had his back, but I feel like the difference between Zabu Passi and Sim Kai is that Zabu Passi's a lot better when it comes to like flowing on top. I feel like his jiu-jitsu is really good. That's just me personally from the tape I watched. I like how his transitions on the mat. And if Ho Lee, I feel like he's going to get taken down. It's just a matter of whether Zabu Passi's cardio can hold up. And from what I remember from the tape, because I didn't go in depth as I did the last time around, but I know Darren Musi pretty well. I think his cardio is solid. I think he does have a lot of early finishes though. But I mean, Ho Lee, I don't know if he's necessarily the one that exploit the cardio, but at minus 325, I think that's what Darren Musi's at right now. I get why he's one of the biggest favorites on the card because he has a clear grappling advantage. And I'll add when they did the PI for him because he trains out of the UFC PI as well. He got number 2 in the combine behind Yiza. So the people at the PI are really high on him, and I think this is a good matchup for him. But keep an eye on the face-offs because I'm curious how these guys size up.
Yeah, I mean, the line you got is pretty decent. I mean, that could be the accurate line, you know. I don't know if he looks. I mean, this current line could look accurate, and then you have an amazing value. So I can't fault it. You know, Darren Misu seems like some guy that's just grappling, relentless grappling for 3 rounds. So you want to go back.
He's only 23 years old or 22, 23. So he's very young. So he's getting better fight by fight. So I feel like he's the one making improvements here. Maybe he's too young in his career where Holy gives him a vet lesson. But yeah, I like the line I got. But yeah, minus 325. I wouldn't go too crazy on it.
That's fair enough, man. Fair enough. I'm not gonna. I think this is exactly what happened the first time. You had all these lines that weren't available anymore, and when we were breaking them down, but I at that time there was like a lot of good lines. I still had Kim over Sasu and Hoffman, who just absolute jobber.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess at the end of the day, because it was like $250 limits to win 250, so it's like if I see a line I like, I'm gonna take it. And it's like if you can't tell the exact number I got, I'm sorry, but I'm giving you the analysis that I can.
Yeah, that's fine, man. I'm just saying. It's funny. Like, but we did the same thing like first time. I had no bets, and you had all these stale lines. But
dude, I had Hoffman plus 265, and he closed the favorite, and that was such a funny fight. I can't believe we bet on him.
I had him as the favorite line, and he was 2-0 up, right?
Yeah, I know that's the funny part too, because I thought he was losing that fight.
Yeah, same. Well, I just thought he fought like an absolute idiot, and he was still winning 2-0, and then he dropped him in round 3, so he was on the road to 30-27, and then he gets knocked out. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah,
which made it even more heartbreaking to see that he was winning that fight.
Yeah, luckily there's no more Filipinos on this. I don't know, we got Mark Kamako, but yeah.
Come on, man, you racist dog. Last fight. Now we can save a lot of time on this one. Bahotabole Baralari versus Shin Harguchi. I haven't seen anything from Shin to show me any weakness whatsoever. Like that fight against Kim, where he just ran through the guy, non-stop for 9 minutes straight. It just broke the guy. Couldn't get up anymore. And Babalari, I think he's just the luckiest fighter at the moment. I mean, he lost to the Bosnian dude. Talunzic, who's not the greatest. He got grappled there a bit, and then he got an absolute robbery to Ryan Leninger in LFA, and then he was literally about to get knocked out by Ben Key, and he won via DQ. So, yeah, lucky dude. I think at this weight class he's huge, but his just cardio might be an issue because he's cutting so much weight. I think Shin's gonna break him. This is the only one where it's not a squash match, but it's like, yeah, I can see why Shin is such a big favorite. So Yeah, the guy's a savage. So I'm looking forward to him versus Zhu in the final. Maybe the KO opens up. You know, I did hit up Dave Mason. It's I've done my part. Hopefully the KO is good again. The best thing about that one was all the props we were hitting on Bet Online. Like I was hitting him as the card was happening, like super stale, and they're all like $1.30. You know, like the favorite is like $1.20, and then inside the distance is like $1.40, like 10 cents better. But Shin was like plus money for the KO, and all he does is like a lot of ground and pound. There's no like submission attempts. So I was like, I smashed that one. And that was beautiful. So hopefully maybe his KO is going to be good again here. He just breaks this guy. But yeah, nothing good to say here.
You're gonna be a little jealous of me. So I wish I got this line, but Shin opened -150. Holy
Jesus.
shit! I would have just kept betting that until it got to -500. But I got -205 and -240 on Shin. I think this is the biggest squash match on the card. I know he's like -550 right now, but he deserves to be that price for a lot of reasons. So when you look at Ba Tabalate, he's he can't be a weight bully. So maybe he misses weight because this was, I think his last fight was the first time he dropped down to lightweight. So hopefully he can make weight so this fight still goes on. But the issue with him is that he has trouble stuffing takedowns. I mean, against Leninger and against Harris, he struggled with the grappling. And I wrote in my notes that his kryptonite is the double leg takedown. And that's literally all fucking Shin does. I mean, you look at the topology picture, he's already in the wrestling stance. So he knows the game plan. This is as close to a tailor-made matchup for Shin to win. I can't help but think he gets the double leg all day. I guess for those that might be concerned of his cardio, I mean, he went to the second round his last fight, and he just wouldn't stop ground and pounding out of the Indonesian dude. So yeah, KO is definitely the move. He doesn't really go for any submissions. So, I mean, maybe we get a good price on the KO, but I'm assuming your buddy Dave's probably listening to this right now, and he's going to open it -400.
Yeah, against the better guy too. So it's no more Filipino bums that with no ground game. Yeah, we covered everything, man. I mean, you have a lot of good lines. I don't know what more to add. I mean, I can go through and say what I'm thinking. I mean, this Peter fight, pick him. I don't know if I want to play anything. The Ray fight is a pass. I'll definitely be playing Kim. You have to plus 400.
Mm-hmm.
Kyman Lee. I mean, Kyman Lee. Last time I was chasing, so I ended up playing the dog by KO because I wanted a big payout. But that was a no-brainer, you know, Lee KO. I might play Lee KO again. And then this other card, we got Park. I don't want to get in the way of Sal Kid just running through Park, but I might play him a little bit. Longsell, I definitely have to tape against Kamikubo. Zhu Ron KO, you can't go wrong with that. Yeah, I mean, not much. I mean, this card is quite hard, man. Once all those beautiful lines that you got were taken, it's hard to formulate a good bet or two with these tail lines. So hopefully Dave opens up the props and we can take advantage of it. I think there might be some good props, underrated.
Yeah, if anybody's still listening right now, please go on Twitter at Dave Mason BOL. We need these props because there is a lot of big favorites on this card. One of them's gonna lose. At least one or two is gonna lose from the chalk favorites. If I had to pick, probably I think Yiza might bust some parlays and maybe another one. I mean, I get why you want to play Longsell, but it's like you could do as much Kamikubo tape as you want, but I don't know what Longsell's takedown defense is gonna look like. And
we've seen it in his last fight. There was a lot of takedown attempts in his last
fight.
Okay,
that's true. But I just think Shohei's grappling and Kamikubo's grappling's on a completely different level. That's just my opinion. But yeah, I get what you're saying. He actually didn't look as bad as I was expecting him to look against Shohei. So maybe he is making improvements at such a young age. So I get why you want to take the value shot there. But I did give out a parlay for some people in my Discord. I think it was Zawu Pasi and Shin Harguchi. I think it was like -140 or something like that. I don't think that's the worst. Maybe I'll do a little deeper study on Ho Lee, but I don't mind that parlay if I had to pick. And then I think Ray, dude, the line's been closing like crazy. It's going to close at a pick'em soon. And I did play Ray's one of my favorite dogs just because he's special in my opinion. And it's like, if you're giving me a plus number behind someone I think could have a really high ceiling down the line in the UFC, I got to take it every time. And yeah, Sangwon Kim, yeah, I feel like we got to put a bet on him. I love Yiza. It would pain me to see him lose, but Dude, it's plus 400. If Yizaw's not getting a round 1 finish, that plus 400 is gonna look really live.
Yeah, Kim, back to the well with Kim, I reckon. If that's all, and you know what, if that closes, if the Ray fight closes at Pick'em, I have
Yeah,
to take I have
you
to take
got to.
Kamako just out of. I mean, I've seen him beat this level of fight before. The only issues I've ever seen with Kamako is getting sparked in the first round, which is absolutely zero chance of that happening with Ray, unless he gets on top, because Ray does throw brutal ground and pound.
Yeah,
But
I guess at the end of the day, like obviously if it gets to pick him, you kind of have to play Kamako, but this is more of just like a test for Ray because we really don't know what level he's operating at. And this is a high level fight. So that's probably the one fight I'm looking forward to the most.
Yeah, easy peasy, man. Thanks for doing this again. I think we did some sharp breakdowns again. Nice and quick. Didn't have to waste too much time. I got plenty of time to get ready for training. And yeah, like and subscribe. Do you want to plug anything, my friend?
Yeah, I mean, I have a YouTube channel. I might start uploading some content for some interviews with some fighters, but it's Big Bird UFC. I do occasional regional show breakdowns, but yeah, just give me a follow on there. Nothing much. And I guess just keep adding Dave Mason until we get props. And I guess have a good one, guys.
That's it. Hit up old mate Dave, especially if you have a following. But yeah, thank you very much, mate. I don't have anything to plug. I was just going to say something, but I completely forgot. Oh yeah, I almost got 500 subscribers. So once we get to 500, I'm gonna start giving some cash away. So a few more.
You just need another MMA Joey raid, and they got you.
Well, I've got the Big Pierce raid because I don't know any of these dudes. You know, Easy MMA, You're Mad. If all of these dudes subscribe, that'll be great. So thanks, guys. Can't wait to get plus 5 subscribers in 5 minutes. And yeah, give me a shitload of comments for the updated light. Right, I bought a light because everyone's complaining. So there you go. Other than that, stay tuned for my UFC bets. You know, it's just trying to cram as much, and we're going to take some Fury UFC, 3 for 3 on the dogs for Fury. So I can't wait to cuck that promotion. But yeah, thank you, mate. Thanks for doing this with me, and good luck.
Yeah, you too.